Hi there, and welcome to Let's Talk Personal. I am your host, Frances Reimers. Thank you for tuning in this week. As always, if you'd like to join the conversation, you can do so on Twitter at LTP Brand Radio or on Instagram at Let's Talk Personal. And as always, you can always talk personally to me. You can do so on Instagram at Firestarter CEO and on Twitter at Your Firestarter. Our guest for the week is having some technical difficulties Skyping in, so we're going to give him a minute to get situated. But before we do, I actually wanted to take a second to, one, wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day if you're into that sort of thing. If you're out there, if you don't have someone to love, definitely love yourself. Take yourself out to dinner, have a great glass of wine. Self-care is always a good thing. If you don't love yourself, you can't love anyone else. But also, before we get started today, I wanted to make I wanted to take a second because something very serious is going on in our country right at this very second that is far more important than this talk show or anything that I have to say. Is we've had another school shooting in this country that makes our 18th since the start of this year, which I'm sure and I'm sure a lot of you find completely appalling. And I'm not going to make commentary about guns or any sort of that sort of thing, because I think what's going on here is much bigger than that. We have to do better for our kids, folks. We have to do better for our kids. And it starts by paying attention to our kids. There are too many kids in this country, starting in this very year, that went to school and didn't come home for no better reason than they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And school should never be a place where somebody is in the wrong place at the wrong time. We need to do more as a community to talking about mental illness. We need to do more to educate and surround our children with safety and security so they can go to school and just be kids. And I'm not just talking about the kids who are injured or killed in these instances. I want us to also show love and care and understanding for these children who are coming into their schools and harming others. Something is going on in these kids' lives that they feel that the only way that they can find the other side is by bringing a gun or a weapon or something to school and opening fire or hurting others. We need to do better as a community. We need to do better as Americans. We need to do better as humans to make sure that our kids can be kids and they can go to school and grow up. And it's more than just guns. It's more than just security. It's a much, much larger issue. But your thoughts and your prayers, while lovely, are not fixing the problem. And so if you have the ability in your community to impact the life of a child, whether you're a mentor, you're in the church, you're a teacher, whatever the case may be, get involved. These kids deserve better. We deserve better as a country. And it starts by us just opening our eyes and paying attention. And I could not have tonight's show without saying that I will do everything I can to be better. And I encourage you all to do whatever you can in your community to be better. These kids need us. We can't keep every day, and we cannot normalize this topic. If you are not sitting at your home, your office, your car, wherever you are right now, if you're listening or watching coverage on this, if you're not angry, you should be. We cannot normalize this. This is not the America that I want, and I know that you don't want. And you can tweet at me and hate at me, I don't care. Because you know I'm not wrong. And if you want to fight me on it and say that, no, Francis, we shouldn't be better Americans, we shouldn't do more for our kids, then what's wrong with you? We need to do better. And that's all I'm going to say about it. So we're going to take a quick break, and you can steam off and be mad at me or whatever the case may be. But come on back. Hopefully we'll have our guest online after his technological issues, and we will get down to talking about today's topic on Let's Talk Personal. So stay right there, and I'll be right back.
Listen, Vision. DC's #1 recording studio.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for your patience and welcome back. As always, I am your host, Frances Reimers. So let's start this over, shall we? Technology has failed us, but we do have our guest today online. But if you'd like to join the conversation, you can always do so on Twitter at LTP Brand Radio or on Instagram at Let's Talk Personal. I know you like talking personally to me, and I appreciate all of your messages, especially when they're of a complimentary kind. You can do so on Instagram at Firestarter CEO or on Twitter at Your Firestarter. So before we took the break, obviously there's a lots going on in the country today, and I took, the liberty, because it's my show, what are you going to do about it, to give my 2 cents about what has happened today and what we as a country need to do to move forward. We have now put a period at the end of that sentence, and we are moving on to today's guest, who is 2-time Super Bowl champion, entrepreneur, and philanthropist, Jarvis Green. Jarvis, how are you?
How you doing, Francis? What's going on? Sorry about the communication.
It's okay. Sometimes technology just isn't our friend. It's great when it works, but it's a little bit of a pain. But you're well. You're doing well today.
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's just been a long day. Been down at the sauce plant, shrimp plant. Just came from the shrimp docks. Drove about 2 hours up to get to Baton Rouge so I can make this interview, but everything else is going pretty good.
Well, we appreciate you. Let's dive right in, since you already were given some information about shrimp. After you finished your career in football, a very excellent career in football, you decided to navigate over to the seafood side of things. Why don't you tell the audience who is not in the know of what you're up to and why you decided to go in that direction?
Well, right now I'm in the seafood business, mainly shrimp. And I retired back in 2010 from the NFL. And from that, I was in a situation, I went to school for construction management. So I was doing different things with construction, building, working for construction companies, and down in the Baton Rouge area, New Orleans area, as well as the North Dakota area. And then from there, I was doing it, but then I had a phone call one day from a friend of mine, and he was asking, hey, Jarvis, Jarvis, I owed him a favor. And I said, what's the favor? And from that, he said, hey, could you help my family sell some shrimp? I said, okay, great. That sounds great, but I don't know anything about shrimp. And then when that happened, he said, no, Jarvis, we're going to teach you everything. And I went from a 6-month internship working in the shrimp plant and learning everything about the shrimp, everything under the sun from A to Z. So when it came down to peeling, the veining, deheading shrimp, icing, working down at the docks, working at the shrimp boat, working on the boat, and just all those different things. And every 2 to 3 weeks, I moved to a different trade. So it was very something very different from me from playing football. And I took my helmet off, really put my shrimp boots on, and started into that industry.
And I have to ask a question that I'm sure a lot of people are thinking is, how many times have you been compared to to Forrest Gump and Bubba Gump Shrimp Company?
That's funny you say that, Francis, because everybody always say when they see, African American with the shrimp business, the first thing they say is they call you Bubba.
Right.
And then for me, I say don't call me Bubba, and it's kind of like on the tagline when I enter the room. I said, don't call me Bubba, so everybody laugh. But in my case, I'm more like Tom Hanks.
So you're Forrest.
Yeah, I'm Forrest. Because with Forrest, he owed somebody a favor.
Right.
And then from the favor, just like the movie, he owed somebody a favor. So I owed my guy a favor, my friend. And Forrest didn't know anything about the shrimp business.
Right.
And it was more like trial and error. And of course, you remember on Forrest Gump, they had the big old hurricane, and he was really the only boat that was out there shrimping. So the odds was for Forrest. And then for me, the same situation. We didn't have a hurricane, but when I went in, I didn't know anything about the shrimp business. And when I started to learn it, and I liked it, but then I began to love it, and that's kind of where it took off at.
And, for those of us who, and I have to say I'm completely outside of the seafood and shrimp industries as a whole, tell us a little bit about what a day in the life is like for you in that industry, and what is it like being an entrepreneur in that industry?
So for me, a they're in the life of the shrimp business. I mean, when I first started, I was doing more coming to the plant, showing up, those long drives, hour and a half, 2 hours to the drive. And really, when you have a shrimp plant, most of the shrimp plants are really in the middle of nowhere, and you're always surrounded by water.
Right.
And from that approach, you get in and you start the day off. So for me, it's a little more complex now because I just have, not only do I have the shrimp, but I also have sauce facilities that make my product.
Right.
What it is. So some days I'm at the sauce plant. I start at 7 o'clock, and then at times we're there until about 9:30, 10 o'clock. We just processing sauce, so we got to batch the sauce. We got to get all the ingredients. I have 4 different sauces that I'm selling right now. That's a coconut curry. I have a red gravy. I have a New Orleans barbecue shrimp, and I have a pomodoro. So each sauce, for the ingredients, what's in the sauces, we're doing mass producing, so you're talking about you're doing 300, 400 gallons at a time. So for me, being my company, I'm there. I'm in the room with the chefs, with the chemists, working all together, batching the sauces. And then when you batch the sauce, the big thing about the sauce is that you batch it, it might take you 3 hours just to batch some of that sauce because you open up drums, emulsifying, you're not really chopping because everything comes diced. When you open up bottles, you open up cans, you open up bags. And when you put the sauce in the kettle, the easy part is just putting the boil on and cooking it. That might take 15 to 20 minutes because you do want to get your sauce up to 185 degrees. So you can kill everything that, to make sure it's edible, for FDA rules and USDA rules. And then that's the sauce. And then we got to get it, put it in the machine, you got to pack it. But in that process, you're talking about, 12 to 15 hour a day. And once the sauce is done, the sauce has to get on the truck and go to the shrimp facility. So the shrimp facility, they're getting the product. So it's different ways you can get the shrimp. You can either get it head on, then you have to process it, dehead it, devein it, peel it, clean it, package up, freeze it, because we use these big old IQF tunnels, individually quick froze or freeze tunnels that freeze the shrimp, negative 20, 30, 40 degrees. And that's one way to do it. Or you get the shrimp deheaded already, and you got less steps to process it, to the finish to get it on the tunnel. And then you got to batch it. And then from there, the sauce and it's packaged, prepackaged. And then you have the shrimp that goes all together in one bag and seal it. And then we have to put it, palletize it and put it in cases and then shrink wrap it. And you have your orders, and your orders go out the door. But it's a long process. It takes a lot of people, directly and indirectly, to get that done from A to Z.
And how many people work for your company currently?
So I'm gonna back up a little bit. So the company is more like a marketing company.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't own any brick or mortar, but I work as strategic partners when it comes to the sauce,
right,
when it comes to the shrimp, as well as the product that comes in a bag. So it's kind of funny because right now I'm sitting in the back office of the graphic company that designed my bags.
Right.
So I'm sitting there trying to get the Skype to work. I'm still having problems with Skype, Francis. But it's on. I can see the screen, and I would love to get an invite to be on TV. To be in person so I can see you face to face. If possible.
Well, we can take a break in a little bit and see if we can get it back online. But a question I had for you is, some of your products are sold on QVC, correct?
Yes, QVC. Yep.
And how did that opportunity come about?
Now, that opportunity with QVC, we had the product, and we had the product more like in a bulk,
mm-hmm.
The way we sell it, and then it was also in the survey people. So for QVC, it was more or less. I had I got one of my marketing guys, and we've been working together for maybe 18 years. And I said, hey, I want to go on QVC. And, you got the Shark Tank, and you have different things
right.
that goes on. And we all know with QVC, the odds of getting on QVC, I think it's like 15,000 people try every year, and only 3% make it.
Right.
But for me, I saw that, but I didn't really think about it. Wow, those odds are great. And I just compared it kind of to what I went through, and playing football. I mean, you have
right.
those odds as well with the numbers, but just having the risk and adversity and going through the process. But I said I knew I had a great product. So the biggest thing was really just making phone calls, because you could call the front desk,
Right.
but at times you got to kind of just, at times you could call 30, 40 times before someone really answers and give you the correct person. But then when you get to the right person,
right,
that's where you really have to sell them and tell them something out of this universe, out of this world that's going to make it, tell them why that I should come up to, to the QVC, to the headquarters,
right,
and prepare this product and show you. So we went through that, and I think when we started talking to them, we caught their attention, and they wanted to listen.
right.
And from that, we had a conference call and talking to the buyers, and they asked so many questions. And I had, whatever question I had, I think I had a pretty good answer. And it was an honest answer, and it was more or less, it wasn't like it was just straight,
right,
concrete information.
right.
And every time they asked me a question, the answer was 2 seconds I had an answer because I knew my product.
Right.
And I believed in my product. And then from that, they said, hey, Jarvis, come take a trip up to, Westchester. Come take a trip, and we'll taste the sauces. So when I got to QVC, I got up there. It was myself. It was one of my marketing guys, and I had another friend of mine that we do business together. And they was all cool, but I was really nervous because I was the one that had to do all the presentation.
Now wait a second. Wait a second.
What'd you say?
You've played in front of millions and millions of people, and this conversation made you nervous. How so?
Well, because you always from watching Shark Tank. I mean, look, I'm a good friend with Damon John. I'm a good friend of his. I know him well.
Yep.
And he's a tough sport. And I watched what they do to the contestants that come on Shark Tank, and a lot of times, I mean, they drill them.
Yeah.
Over and over. And when I went to QVC, they keep hearing it's like a Shark Tank type of interview.
Yep.
So I didn't really know what to expect. I just knew my product and my sauces and what I could do with it. So for me, I went there and I bought so much stuff. Like I bought lobster tails, I bought eggs, I bought rice, pasta, chicken, salad, because I wanted to try all those different things with my sauce.
Right.
Because that's kind of like my selling point on my sauce, for my product on the bag.
Sure.
It says it goes with rice, pasta, baked potato, salad, cornbread.
Right.
Or your favorite protein. So I got to that point, and when the guy from the back, he came from the back, it was like a war zone. Mm-hmm. You saw the chef coming from the back. They had paper flying everywhere. It was like a movie. And people running left and right. It was just crazy. Then he came up. He said, hey, I'm looking for Ocean's 97. I said, that's us. And I had my big old box with all my product, and we made like an exchange. Mm-hmm. And he grabbed everything I had, and I'm like, he said, where's the shrimp? Where's the sauce? I said, here. I said, I'm coming with you. He said, no. You can't come to the kitchen. It's a liability.
Right.
I'm like, what? Now, I didn't hear any of that at all in the phone conversations. And he was like, you can't cook the product. You know how to cook it. We need to cook it because we're strangers.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
So he took the product, and he disappeared for 45 minutes, and I couldn't keep still.
Right.
I was tossing and turning on the couch. I was like laying flat across the couch in the front office when you walk into the headquarters.
Right.
Like a little kid, I want my cookies. I mean, I'm just tossing and turning, and all my other guys are just sitting there. And I got up, kind of walk around in a circle, and then 45 minutes later, the buyers came out. And they said, "Hey, we're looking for Ocean 97 Jarvis Green." I said, "Hey, this is I'm right here." And after that, we went to the back, and we were looking for one of the rooms to go into to do the presentation. Mm-hmm. We found a room, and then from that, the chef came with the product. It looked good. It smelled good. I said, "Good job, chef." He told me, "Good luck." I went in, and that's when they just started asking all the questions, everything about the sauce. And really they just want to hear like a story.
Right.
And while I was telling the story, well, that's what they said. They said, hey, do you want to eat the food first or you want to tell the story? I said, how about if we do both? Right. They said, well, if you could do that at the same time. I said, I could swing it. And then from there, we pulled the forks out, the spoons. I started serving everybody, and I just started talking about each product, where I got the origin from and why. and what it goes good with, and just everything about the quality product. Because I mean, it is Gulf's domestic shrimp. That's what I'm selling.
Right.
And then the different unique sauces. So in QVC, I did different. I did like a chimichurri, I did a coconut curry, I did a garlic butter, and I did a New Orleans barbecue. So it's a little different than what I'm selling now.
Right.
And we did all that, and I think we had maybe it was an hour meeting, and we got up. They shook my hand, say, you know, you made it. Now we're gonna get you some more information, get some prices back to us, and we're gonna send an email on what's the next steps.
Right.
And then you know, I guess maybe a month passed or 2 months passed, and then I had to go back to QVC. So this is the QVC school.
Right.
Now this is the tough one. This is where it gets really tough, and you're pretty much with a group of people in the classroom, and you're in the studio, like a live studio, and you're asking all these different questions, and you got these different interviews, and that's where it gets really, really hard.
And like, do they put you on the spot? Do you go through?
Oh yes.
You know what happens?
Yes, they put you on the spot, and I gotta say, they had people in the room that had 40 years of experience of selling.
Right.
People had sweats. People were sweating. People was like freaking out.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like, it was different. You know, it was like I don't know, it was like a war zone. It was a nice, neat war zone, and it was just asking you different questions, and
right.
You couldn't be repetitive. You couldn't say the same thing, and it was like all cameras, all eyes on you.
Right.
Everybody was watching, and they were judging, and pretty much that was a live interview.
Right.
For you to go to the next round to get on TV.
Right.
QVC Live.
Well, nothing like being on live TV, right?
Nothing. No, nothing at all.
But I'm sure this exercise really helped you kind of hone in on your message and be able to help you to be able to identify, you know, your unique differentiators or what sets your, you know, your product apart from so many seafood products out there. Did you feel as you were going through this training that you were able to really kind of zero in on your product message or your brand message as you went through this exercise?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I think I was in a pretty good situation or position, because when I used to work for a company when I first got into the seafood business, I've done so much. And this company was an Asian company.
Right.
There was a Vietnamese co-op, and I gotta say, in my 3 years working with that company, I've done over 300 demos, food presentations, cooking, talking. I've done so many different food shows, and really, you say the same exact thing 1,000+ times a day.
Right, right.
You know,
sure.
so it's in you. And the biggest thing for me was that when I started my product, I mean, from engineering the product, getting it from day one, and then breaking it down completely to everything, making changes, making it more healthier,
right,
making it cleaner.
right.
I learned, you know how it goes. When you do something so many times, I mean, it's like first nature.
Yep.
And you know what's in your product. You just know everything when it comes down to the onions, the garlic, the parsley, the thyme. You just know each product.
Right.
So to explain and to talk to them about what's in the product, and you know, wild caught Gulf shrimp. I mean, that's the South. That's the Gulf of Mexico, and
right.
that's something that I believe in as a fisherman, a shrimpman, a shrimp monger. So it was really easy just to communicate, and I felt like I was at home, just in my kitchen, talking
right.
to a few family members about the product.
Right. So have you been able, is your computer back up and running, and are you able to get into Skype yet?
Well, right now I'm at my Skype window, and
Okay.
I'm like at the part that says search to Skype, and I'm not sure what else I have to do.
Okay. We'll take a quick break because I want to dive into your other topics, but we'll take a break really quick and we can get you on Skype so that we can see each other face to face. So all of you at home or watching online, hold on 1 second while we get our all technology worked out. So hang on 1 second and we'll be right back.
How you doing, man?
Listen vision, listen vision. DC's #1 recording studio. Oh. Listen Vision, Listen Vision, DC's #1 recording studio. Oh!
Okay, well, technology is just not on our side, so we're going to continue with Jarvis Green here on over the telephone, and we're just going to make it work. So, Jarvis, before we went to the break, we were talking about your career in the shrimping industry, but you have a lot of other things going on. I wanted to switch gears over to your work, your philanthropy work with your foundation, the Jarvis Green Foundation. Why don't you tell those at home a little bit about the organization and why you are particularly passionate about the causes that the organization covers?
Well, the Jarvis Green Foundation, I started back in 2005 when Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast. And I know from there, I watched the hurricane. I was in New England and playing for the Patriots. And the aftermath, I lost a lot of family members. A lot of things happened in between. And it was just a tough time for everyone because, I mean, a lot of people lost family and a lot of people lost their homes. They lost they lost everything that they earned and created, in that span, in that time span. So when it happened, the first thing for me is that I wanted to help disadvantaged single working mothers.
Right.
So I started a foundation, 501c3. And from that, we helped a few family, for single mothers getting homes. And also we helped them with different financial stability and also giving them different classes that to educate them on once they get to that point of being stable that they can prolong that and just make smart decisions. And from that, we helped, the foundation really helped single moms that, if it was anything for us, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, first day of school, tuition, they need a new car, they need to pay some bills, medical bills, if it's just food, in the refrigerator, we did those different things. And when we used to do it, it was more or less that the single moms had to be working,
Right.
And she had to write out a 500 word, essay on why she deserves it. And we also, it might sound crazy, but we also went into doing background checks,
Right.
just to make sure that everybody was telling the truth and being honest.
Right.
Because we wanted to make sure that when we give this money out, that it was to the person who really needed the money.
Sure.
And from that, the way that the foundation raised money was that we did a lot of wine tastings. We did a lot of different food events. I mean, I always been a foodie.
Right.
And I always like to eat. And I say, hey, if I could share moments over a good food and a good glass of wine to raise money
Right.
for disadvantaged single working mothers, that's what we did. And in that process, when I played for New England, I've done over 40 plus events in those 8 years, and we raised a lot of dollars for those single moms. I mean, even if it came down to Christmas, I remember Christmas came one year and we helped 20 different moms, and it was from $100 to $200 to $500. Gift cards and just different things that could at least get them over the holidays, and for those who have situations and funding problems,
right.
We made it possible for them and their kids to have a better Christmas, a better holiday.
And this is in the Baton Rouge area that your organization, the geographic area?
Well, it was both. It was Baton Rouge, it was the New England area, but I did most of my events in the New England area because playing football, we're up there year round.
Right.
So a lot of the money that was raised, it came from the New England area, but then a lot of the money raised, it also came back to New Orleans,
right,
and different parts of the country as well. I mean, when somebody sent in a request, we wasn't just stuck to one region.
Right.
If a letter came from California, the foundation tried its best to help that person in California.
Right. And your foundation is, you have one mission to work with single mothers and help them out, but doesn't the foundation also have a different angle as well, working with kids? Okay.
Yes, it does. So when I was doing that, I was playing football, so I changed the mission of the foundation because for me, getting into the food industry and really just my biggest thing is making sure that kids. Just people eat better, eat healthier, maintain a well-balanced diet.
Right.
So now moving forward with the foundation, we will be helping kids and working with them. Mm-hmm. And also, on top of that, letting kids know that football isn't the only sport that they could play to be successful. They got so many other sports that they can interact with. And also eating that well-balanced diet to get them ready, in the morning when they get up during the day, that they can have their full strength and full energy and just have better health eating habits. Because we know obesity is a big killer in America. And for me, with the food business, because I know for me, I've asked like the Walmarts, Stop and Shop, even like the Whole Foods, because I'm getting into Whole Foods hopefully in a few months as well in the New England area. And my biggest thing was, do y'all help with charities?
Right.
And all of them say we help big time with charities. So whatever you do, they say we're going to help, and we're going to back you, and we're going to match you, or whatever you want to do. So they have different programs for all their different charities. And when I saw that, I said this could be a big deal for Ocean 97 with the strength and the capabilities, but also having these type of companies like Whole Foods, Super Stop and Shop, and Walmart to back up the foundation to help in the community is a perfect story and relationship.
Right. And back to your company for just a second, you're not just located down in Louisiana. You've actually opened up shop back in New England, correct?
Yeah. So for all my time, my 5 or 6 years in this business, I've never really sold anything in Louisiana or the South.
Right.
I mean, we did a few things with Sam's. It was more like demos. But the biggest thing is that everything I've done with like seafood has been from D.C. to Maine.
Right.
That's been all my business, and that's kind of where I started since I played football for the Patriots for 8 years, and I thought that would have been the best place to go.
Right. And a lot of people who watch or tune into my show are probably not aware that when you were at LSU, you were a construction major. Is that correct?
Wait, say that again.
When you were at LSU, you majored in, was it construction?
Yeah, I was construction management.
And so how does somebody who majored in construction management become so successful in business? Kind of talk to us about how you made such a transition. How did you learn to get to where you're at this point?
I mean, growing up, I have 4 siblings. I'm a twin. I have a twin brother. I have another brother and sister. They're twins. I have an older brother. We all grew up down in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. I mean, we always was creating things. I mean, my dad had pigeons. We had chickens. We had at one time we had maybe 8 to 10 Great Danes and about 6 or 7 cats.
Oh my God.
And we always was creating, building things. My dad he was a welder, so he always built. I mean, we built the barn. We worked on building our house. I mean, just different things that we did.
Right.
And I always wanted to create, and I always wanted to build things.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, you grow up, you didn't really know exactly what that was, but I know I wanted to create something, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it may be. It could be something with wood, metal, anything. I mean, I'm doing food now, creating things. But then I went to LSU, and I majored in construction, management, engineering, whatever you want to call it. But we do so much stuff with engineering. And again, it's another thing about creating. But when I got to college, I mean, I always had my job with the football team, but then I always had another job. I used to work at Walmart, push baskets, on a full scholarship, and I worked for a big industrial construction company in Louisiana. So I did all that in college, all the way till I graduated. And then when I got to NFL, got drafted 4th round, and then I had an internship for 2 years with Rolls-Royce Naval Marine. We built ship propellers for the U.S. Navy. I did that for 2 years, my second and third year, and then my fourth and fifth year, I worked with a company called Atwell's Restaurant Group out in Providence, Rhode Island for 2 years, because I wanted to learn how to open up a restaurant.
Right.
And then I did the internship, and then I opened the restaurant up, I think, from 2007 to 2010. I had a liquor store in between for about 4 years called Greens, Purple, and Gold, about 300 yards from LSU Tiger Stadium.
Right.
So I did all those different things while I played football. Now, a person might say, I used to say, man, you're doing too much, or you're doing this, you're doing that. But I always, in my head, I said I wanted to have a plan A, B, and C. Because when I got drafted, I was a 4th round draft pick. And people always say, you're not big enough, you're not fast enough, you're not strong enough.
Right.
So they call me a tweener, and they always say you're going to play 1 or 2 years, you won't get drafted, you're going to be out of the league. So I said, let me see if I can figure something else to do to prepare me for life after football. But I was blessed enough to play 9 years, went into Super Bowls, all the great things that could be, played, for a great team. And I played. I wasn't just a guy that felt the bench. I really played and made plays, and I was a game changer. And I thank God that I had that opportunity. But I remember I used to be in my bed, my 6th and 7th year. I used to toss and turn. I couldn't sleep. And I said, what will I be doing after I'm done playing football?
Right.
I always was thinking ahead, always.
Right. And
it's so strange now that I was making all the crazy money, and I couldn't sleep. Now I'm at peace. I'm doing something that I love.
Right.
I mean, I'm not listening to this person, do this, do that. I say I'm doing something that I want to do, that I choose to do.
Right.
And I can remember when I first started the shrimp business, people used to always tell me, and friends say, hey, Jarvis, come do this, come sell insurance, come sell medical supplies, come do this.
Right.
That shrimp business, it's not going to work. You're not going to make it. You don't know what you're doing. You're not Bubba. As Forrest Gump is a movie. It's not real. So I got that from so many people. And I said, I'm not about to change this or what I'm doing. Because at one time, I was doing construction. I was doing shrimp. Then the other company kind of disappeared. And then I went to construction. And I was like, Jarvis, too many people in this industry to walk away from it.
Right.
Too many people. And I'm talking about like buyers for like national stores, like the Kroger's, H-E-B's, Safeway, Associated Wholesale Grocery, just those big Winn-Dixie, Publix.
Right.
I said, let me not walk away. Let me start over. Let me rebrand myself. And again, that's me creating something. And I know my biggest thing is that I'm big on when you start a relationship with someone or a company, I believe in a relationship and growing a relationship.
Right.
And working with a company. Like right now today, I'm sitting here I'm sitting here with AIM Printing out of Baton Rouge. This is my graphics company.
Right.
I've been working with them for almost 8 to 9 years, and like some of the things that we've done, and we have evolved together. Like my bags on my product that when people will see in the store, that took 2.5 years.
Right.
That came from the minds of AIM Printing to get to that point. But we never gave up. We kept evolving. And every time we evolved, it got better and better and better.
Right.
So that's kind of how my life is as well when I do things. I mean, everybody can give up. If something hard, you stop, you turn around. But for me, like, what I say in my little thing, I keep going, I keep moving forward, evolve as we go, and just do things better. Not the same, be innovative.
Right.
And that's what I believe in when it came to construction, the internships, doing something different. I hate when people stereotype me, call me a football player. I always hated that. Always.
Right.
And I also want to be recognized that that they come. Look, I don't know if I'm talking too much, but I would tell people the day that I'm gone and they read my legacy, they're going to talk about all these little things that I've done, and they're going to say, "Oh, I forgot he played football as well."
Right. Right. Well, I think
that's going to be my legacy.
I think it was Kobe Bryant who said that if my legacy is only that I played basketball, then I absolutely failed. Part of the reason that I wanted to interview you is because a question that I get very often from a lot of my athlete clients and celebrity clients and even executive clients is, how do I evolve my brand? How do I evolve my message? And I think you mentioned throughout this conversation, you kind of articulated it and put it out there, is you just don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Your career has been bits and pieces of different kinds of industries, construction, business, football, and you've worn a lot of different hats, and that's a big way that you keep that's how you keep evolving, you keep learning, but also how you have your brand evolve as well, and you're kind of evolving in yourself into a new direction. With the little bit of time that we have left, you had a really neat thing just happen recently where BET allowed you to take over their Instagram. Talk briefly about how that all came about for you.
Well, the BET thing, the Instagram takeover, that came from my publicist, Eddie Roman, and we've been talking about doing different things with BET, and then I think I had my shot in also going to New York City, so I had to do a lot of different things with just campaigning and just really just pushing the brand, Ocean's 97. So I think that was a good niche, and also the fact that it's been Black History Month.
Right.
So I was very proud of that, and being a shaker and a mover. So when really it came about, and I think they did some things, and they said okay, and I was just excited. And then when they gave me the setup, the login, and when I got to New York City, they pretty much said, "Hey, you got till 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. the next day." Okay. And just a bunch of different stories. So I had so much stuff to do with Black Enterprise. We went to Google, talked about some diversity stuff. We went to Cumulus Radio.
Right.
Also met with Cumulus Radio with Be Terrific. And then we was on some other few shows, did some interviews in between. So it was really fun to be in the Big Apple and taking a bite out of the Big Apple, working with BET on their live story Instagram.
Right.
And I think we raised a lot of eyebrows. And again, it's not always like, I used to be the athlete, but it's not always, you got your entertainers, you got your actors, you got your music folks, and for me, I'm a retired football player into the food industry, and I think what I'm doing is something unique.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's different, and it's innovative, because for me, it might sound funny. I used to always tell people, one day I pray that I'll become the Black Paul Newman.
Okay.
Sounds funny, but So.
Hey, if that's where you're going, I think it's great. When it comes, social media is playing such a huge role in you raising your visibility as you make a brand transition. What is your favorite social media platform and why?
I know that one time it was Facebook, but Facebook, they give you so so many viewers unless you're on a fan page.
Right.
And I think the fan page still is kind of hard just to interact with so many people unless you're like a big name, actor or like a great, for us when it comes to an athlete or musician.
Right.
But with Instagram, I love IG. I love Instagram. I love the short stories.
Right.
And with Instagram, I think it's so much easier to connect with people that you don't even know or see. Because you got so many different channels where the quick videos come on, and then you got the little, I forgot the middle bar, but the middle bar, it goes like, it can go around the world. You see people from everywhere, different colors and shades, and they are talking about their personal life and what's going on. So Instagram is very unique. Now, if they could figure out how to make some of these videos a little bit longer, it would be awesome.
Well, I think, with Instagram, the 1 minute time limit on the videos, I think is the way to go because one, that the human attention span isn't going to watch much longer than a minute, but we'll see. They'll probably keep messing around with it. Before we have to wrap for the day, let people know where they can find you online. Speaking of social media.
So to find Oceans 97, you can check out oceans97.com. My Instagram is Oceans97, and then I got the real Jarvis Green. That's my personal. And then on Twitter, I have Oceans97 and Jarvis Green. And then Facebook, I have Jarvis Green and Oceans97. So you can't get it mixed up at all. It's either one or the other.
Right.
And you can check out all the information, updates on what's going on, and also ocean97.com. You can see where the product is going to be located. My product did hit the stores,
right?
So you can check it out and enjoy, eat, have a good time, and give me positive feedback or negative. Just tell me what you think about the product.
Either way. So, being so close to New Orleans, were you able to enjoy any Mardi Gras festivities at all?
I'm gonna say this: I did not go to Mardi Gras this year.
Okay.
I was working on Monday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, I had my daughters, and they was kind of just a little sick. I got two daughters,
right.
And so I stayed in. I was on the phone because the entire country is open, but New Orleans is shut down.
Right.
In Louisiana,
right?
It's shut down, right? So I was still working from home. But I didn't see any parades. And I saw the people running around because I stay about 7 miles south of the city.
Right.
But just to see it, to smell it, you see everybody having a good time. I know it rained a lot over the weekend, but I kind of missed Mardi Gras, but hopefully I can catch it next year.
Yeah, I definitely missed it this year, and I'm sad because I saw lots of pictures from people I know down there living it up. New Orleans is hands down my favorite city, so hopefully next year I can be there for Mardi Gras. But we do have to wrap, so I thank you a million times over for braving the technology today and joining me. I appreciate it. I'll shoot you a message a little bit offline, but thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for the time as well, and I can share my news and my story. Thanks again.
Absolutely. And for all of you there at home, of course, if you want to connect with the show, you can always do so on Twitter at LTP Brand Radio or on Instagram at Let's Talk Personal. And I love it when you connect with me. You can do so on Instagram at Firestarter CEO or on Twitter at Your Firestarter. Tune in next week when we are going to take a departure from sports for a little bit. My guest next week is Jocelyn Hunter, who is the head of communications for Columbia Lighthouse for the Blind. I'm going to touch base with her, and we're going to talk about brand building amongst those who have physical disabilities in the workplace. So it'll be quite the departure from sports, but nevertheless, very interesting conversation. Let me thank my sponsors, Co-Create and Columbia Lighthouse for the Blind, for all of their support. The season for me is coming to an end here in a few short weeks. So if you're interested in keeping Let's Talk Personal on the air, which I hope that you do, if you're interested in being a sponsor, please reach out to me and I will give you all the information. But I am your host, as always, Frances Reimers. Thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.